Alrighty, so as per usual, we got a lot to get through. My name is Ari Gonzalez. This is my music business podcast, Run It Back. This is officially episode 7, meaning we've been doing this for 7 weeks now, which is crazy to me. But with that being said, I was getting ahead of myself. You know, yeah. We have a lot to get through as per usual, so I'm going to just very quickly get everything started already. Um, as in every other episode, we always talk about new music first. I always say, there are about 60,000 songs uploaded to Spotify only every single day, so there's no way for me to get through every single piece of new music that has come out in this past week. But if you're interested in having me do a little promotion and sneak your song in, definitely let me know. Always open to it. But with that being said, let's talk about some of the new music that has come out in this past week. We have Holiday with Good Night, Kate Stewart with Hate You, which was a great song. Definitely recommend that you check that out if you don't check out any of the other music that I talk about tonight. We have Nakel Smith with an album titled The Plus Line. Also a great listen. Really enjoyed that. Gave some new shit, you know what I mean? Like, just not everything, not something that you hear all the time. Definitely drum and bass, a little bit of hyper pop vibes with some bars attached. So definitely another one that I recommend. We have Pusha T revealing that he will have another collaboration with Jay-Z on his upcoming project. We also have Jade with Lucky Stars. And finally, we have Tiana Kocher with Back It Up. Tiana, this is someone that I was introduced to through my research about this episode. And I loved this girl's voice, like absolutely like butter. Beautiful music in general, beautiful girl, period. So I'm excited to see, some more elevation from her because she definitely has the ability to do so. So definitely watch out. Once again, that is Tiana Kocher. Next up, we have a newer segment that I've been putting in called My Likes. This is essentially things that don't fit into the pre-described categories that I already have set for this podcast. But they're things that I wanted to add in because I enjoy talking about them. So first one is pretty long in terms of what I'm going to say. We have Top Dog Entertainment president discussing Kendrick Lamar's departure from the record label. I'm not going to read through everything that I have. I'm just going to kind of talk about it. This is a really interesting read because it's not like your average breakup from artist and label. It wasn't anything, no legal battles, no bad blood between anyone. Kendrick has been with Top Dog for a very long time, since essentially the beginning of his career, and they've seen him grow to, in my opinion, and something that was said in this article, one of the best rappers, performers, lyricists of all time. And they both Top Dog and Kendrick kind of feel like at this point in his career, it's kind of time for him to start doing his own shit without, the help of the label. And in actuality, in truth, he doesn't need them anymore. He has really solidified himself as a staple in hip hop. And with that being said, I personally know that anything that Kendrick drops is going to pop. He has the resources to do whatever he wants at this point. So that was really interesting for me, especially with the fact that, there's no bad blood. Everyone just wants each other to continue to prosper and grow. So that was really interesting to me. Next up, we have songwriter and advocacy group The 100 Percenters is planning a peaceful protest in Los Angeles tomorrow, actually, on Monday, in support of better royalty rates for music creators from Spotify and other streaming platforms. Love to hear this. There's a lot of, mixed opinions on the royalty rates, streaming rates for artists. I've talked about it a little bit, but this is something that I personally am very happy about. I hope we can get some more momentum. Protests and things like this have been staged and done in the past, and of course nothing has really come out of them. But I think the more that we talk about it, the bigger a conversation it is, the more change that we can have, or the further that these conversations can go. All right, so this next one is going to be pretty long-winded. I'm super happy about it, though, because I am a femme in the industry, and there's not a lot of femmes in the industry who are respected, or we could talk about, C-suite position percentages, money. We could talk about all of it, but the next thing I'm going to talk about is Billboard's release of pioneering women in the music industry. So we're going to talk about some of them, and it's going to be some great information. These are some awesome ladies. Will add, though, something that kind of bothered me in this. They're all white women. Anyways, we have Ethel Gabriel, considered to be the first female producer to work for a record label. The Pennsylvanian native affixed labels to records and packaged them for shipment at the RCA Victor plant in Camden, New Jersey, before moving to the company's corporate offices in New York City. With RCA, she worked as an A&R executive and an eventual vice president for the company, championing the signing of Perez Prado to help bring Mambo to the United States, and helped along with the creation of things like Living Strings, Pure Gold, and a Legendary Performer series. Once again, if you want to learn about any of the things that I talk about, delve a little bit more into them, I always have the news story links over in either the description in my bio for those of you on YouTube, or the link in my bio for those of you on Instagram. Next up, we have Marion Kaesker. In 1953, while working as an office receptionist at Sam Phillips Sun Records in Memphis, Kaesker welcomed the 18-year-old Elvis Presley to the building. She was a radio host and station manager at WREC Memphis and had a pivotal role in Presley's ascent, as well as, being a part of a very well-documented, experience for Elvis, including 3 different biopics about the man himself. We have Christine Farnon. Decades before Deborah Duggan became, the Recording Academy's first president or CEO in 2019, Farnon was a top executive at the organization. While she never held a big title, everybody knew who the woman was, and they knew her place at the organization as one that really helped make things happen in general. Next up, we have Suzanne DePaz. Joining Motown Records in the late 1960s as a creative assistant to founder Berry Gordy, Suzanne DePaz had ascended to president of its TV and film division, Motown Productions, when MCA Records bought the deal in 1988. DePaz's remarkable journey encompasses... Wow, you guys just saw... I get distracted easily. DePaz's remarkable journey encompassed bringing cornerstone acts like the Jackson 5, the Commodores, and Lionel Richie to the Motown family, as well as helping produce a award-winning TV special and a mini-series like the Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, Forever, which featured Michael Jackson's famous moonwalking performance of Billie Jean. Is not my lover. Next up, we have Maria de Jesus. The young bride began her career with booking shows. Today, she is recognized as the grande dame of Mexican music. And El Recado, which will turn 84 in October, is known as the mother of the bands, with 9 Latin Grammy Awards and 52 entries on Billboard's Hot Latin Songs chart, while her brothers Alfonso and Joel have led the group since Cruz's death in 1995. Chuyita, which is Maria, still oversees bookings, clients, distribution, logistics, just about everything. And she says, at 77, I still have not lost my desire to work. And just to put a little tidbit in there, like, when you're doing what you love, when you are doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work, and you can definitely have that mentality of you. Why would you ever want to stop? You would do it even if you weren't getting paid, kind of thing. Finally, we have Bonnie Garner. By the time that she landed at Columbia Records in New York City as the first woman on the A&R team, she had already booked the Grateful Dead for Playboy After Dark, brought Jimi Hendrix onto Dick Cavett talk show, and interviewed to be Mick Jagger's assistant. But it was at Columbia Nashville where she made her lasting mark as the first female VP of A&R, working with Willie Nelson, George Jones, Johnny Cash, folks along those likes in the 1970s and 80s before moving into the management world. Once again, I put this in because I am a femme in the industry. We don't hear a lot about powerful femmes in the industry. It's gotten better over the years, of course. But there's still a huge gap in representation, in pay, in respect, all these things. So I was super happy to see Billboard put out this list and talk about these things. Finally, on the My Likes section of all of this, we have Music Radar giving 6 absolutely free tools for hip-hop production. I wanted to put this in just as a little resource for you guys. Once again, all of the links, all of the resources are in either the description on YouTube or the link in my bio for those of you on Instagram. Next up, we have some artist accomplishments. Belinda has managed to regain absolute control of all of her songs after a very long battle against Universal Music. They had kept her tied up, her music, her money in these past recent years. She's been dubbed the Princess of Latin Pop, and she has recently joined the ranks of Sony Music, and they are the folks that helped her recover all of her rights, all of her music, all of that good stuff. So definitely hats off to her. That's a very hard thing to go through in general. And I'm happy for her, absolutely amazing stuff. Next up, we have the composer and pianist Havasi signing to Universal Music Group. And another, finally, Leo Rush has announced that he has signed with Universal Music Group as well. Next up, we've got Web3. I have decided to make this its own section because a lot of the times in the industry updates, this is what I'm talking about. If you haven't caught on already, Web3 is something that you need to be doing research on. You need to be staying up to date with. It is the new internet, and the music industry is already right on board as it needs to be. So there's a lot of things developing, a lot of things happening. So definitely just keep your eye out on things besides listening to my podcast or watching my podcast. First up, we have OpenSea, the NFT marketplace, currently investigating an alleged phishing attack following a string of tweets from dismayed users reporting the disappearance of NFTs from their wallets. According to OpenSea, 17 users were impacted by the phishing attack, with at least $1.7 million worth of NFTs stolen. This is just another example, another one of the things that show that we need more structure when it comes to crypto, when it comes to NFTs and things like that, so that shit like this cannot happen. I know at some point it is unavoidable. There are people who are so tech savvy to the point they will break down whatever you put up. But I am definitely of the belief that we need to get more structure in there, make things more safe in general for everyone involved, because there is a lot of money to be made here. There's a lot of money that is already made sitting in people's phones that has the ability to, as we can see, $1.7 million gone. Moving on, we have Co-Write securing $6.2 million in funding following a seed round and private token sale. Co-Write is a company that says it enables artists to drop the traditional record label model while still releasing music on all major streaming platforms by, quote, launching fan funding campaigns on the platform and capturing their social capital. They can generate additional revenue through streams, secure the funding and marketing support from their followers, and reward their active backers with a portion of the royalties. So something that I want to touch on this is crowdfunding in general. I think it is a somewhat lost art. I think that a lot of artists, they don't really want to put themselves out there like that. They don't really want to ask for handouts. But in truth, it's something that can really help you along your way in terms of funding, and you don't have to do it for free. There are a lot of people who they will sell an album in exchange for a little extra, essentially a deluxe product kind of thing to help you along your journey as an artist. But this heavily reminds me of that. The only difference, in my opinion, is the fact that they technically have a stake in whatever money you're making. So definitely go check out Co-Write. See if it's a viable option for you, something that you want to look into. Next up, we have Universal Music Group hiring an executive charged with driving its Web 3.0 business forward. That person is Richard Cusick, who joins the music company as Chief Product Officer of Global E-commerce. According to UMG, Cusick will build a product team charged with translating UMG's business objectives into what it calls innovative products and experiences across e-commerce and Web3 that have direct artist and fan-focused initiatives. Finally, we have Brett Kernan, formerly of music tech company Splice, along with Michael George, who was previously at Scooter Braun's SB Projects, where he managed Martin Garrix. These two have teamed up with Carlo Fox, Benjamin Wills, and Joshua Adriano, co-founders of Indie Pop and Independent Co., to self-fund and launch investment and advisory group Wave 7. Each serves as a managing partner, collaborating to identify and help support companies innovating in crypto and Web3. Next up, we have some industry updates as per usual. This is a longer section. First, we have the UK-based startup Ox launching the Ox Awards to highlight initiative music tech startups as well as artists, podcasters, a whole slew of people in the industry. The Ox Awards is set to take place on the 30th of March as a live streamed event. Once again, all of the information for this stuff is linked in the description or the link in my bio, so you guys can, find out more, see how you can tune in, or possibly see how you could, end up on that roster there in the future. Next, we have independent label, distributor, and publisher Empire launching Empire Africa. Spearheading Empire's growth in Africa is, and I'm going to butcher this name, I'm sorry, Ezegozi Eze Jr. As Vice President of Marketing and Development, we also have Kareem Mobaliji as Regional Head in West Africa. And then finally, Tetilope Adesanya as Product Manager. Next up, we have Universal Music Group announcing the launch of Def Jam India. We also have Exile Content Studio launching a music division, which will be led by seasoned industry executive Jeremy Norkin. Next, we have Audiomack and Black Music Action Coalition announcing a mentorship program aimed at developing Black music executives. I'm going to say this over and over again because when I say it, it's because I want you guys to go and utilize these opportunities because they're awesome. All the information is linked on my pages. So please go find out if you guys qualify for any of the things that I talk about that are direct opportunities. And, put yourself out there. Go for it. Next up, we have Rutgers receiving a grant to help expand hip-hop youth research and activism. Yeah. We have Paul Smith as spotted by Music Business Worldwide. He was Spotify's global head of international licensing from February 2017 to 2022. Smith is now managing director of YouTube Music for APAC as of this month. He has had a long career in the music industry, including 7 years at Nokia and another year at Microsoft, while starting at Universal Music Group. Very busy man, very cool stuff. Finally, We have Spotify elevating 2 new executives in its international and Latin departments. We have Monica Herrera Damashek. She was promoted to North American lead of international music. And then we also have Michael Sanchez, who was, promoted to head of artist and label partnerships at the Latin America and US Latin sectors of the company. Next, we have some news about live music. Justin Bieber postponed his Las Vegas show due to a recent COVID diagnosis. We have on February 20th, the Culture Tour presented by Black Promoters Collective has made its way to the State Farm Arena in Atlanta as the fourth stop on the 30-city tour. Fair fans will get to shake their tail feathers all over again because Nelly is returning to the Great New York State Fair for a performance at 8 p.m. Wednesday, August 31st on the Chevy Park stage. And this will all be taking place on the New York Experience Festival grounds. We have UK-born music venue developer and operator TVG Hospitality raising $50 million in new funding in order to expand its team and venue portfolio, both in the UK and across the United States. Finally, we have R&B singer Her, set to perform at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater on June 21st. And according to Birmingham show-based booking agent Red Mountain Entertainment, Mars will open the 7:30 p.m. show. Mars is going to open it. All right, guys? Okay. Next, we have some, artist relations things that have to do with labels and deals. We have Conway the Machine revealing that he is no longer signed to Griselda or Shady Records. And during an appearance on the Bootleg Kev podcast on Friday, this is when he made this announcement. As for his current position, Conway compared to himself as an NBA star during free agency. So he's just kind of chilling right now, not signed to anybody, which is cool. That's fine. If he wants to, his manager should be making a couple calls. But we will see how this develops and how it affects, his career in general. Should be very interesting to watch. We have Dua Lipa now being managed by her father as she splits from TAP after 8 years. Quoting music industry sources, the Daily Mail, they had reported that Lipa's departure was linked to the size of the cut that she receives from recording and commercial deals negotiated on her behalf by TAP. Essentially, what I'm hearing is that they were not working in her best interest. She definitely, when you're working with a label, you're getting a smaller check than they are, 100%. But it seems to her like it was too small of a small check. And I definitely understand that. Dua has been the pop girly of these past couple years. She's honestly, at this point, likely a household name. I would classify her as that. And she definitely deserves whatever she thinks that she deserves. So I'm glad that she has, her father around her to hopefully be pointing her in a better direction, helping her out, and getting the grime off of her. We always love that. Next up, we have Snoop Dogg teasing a partnership with Diddy's Bad Boy Records. Very excited to see how that develops and what comes out of it. And then finally, we have Megan Thee Stallion suing her label over the definition of an album. If you don't know, she recently released an album called Something for the Hotties. Her label is, classifying it as a mixtape. And essentially, the reason there's an issue with this, the reason that Megan is suing, is that likely, I would have to look into this more to confirm, but very likely her contract is based on album cycles. So essentially, she has however many albums that she has to create until she has fulfilled her contract with the company. If they classify it as a mixtape, it does not count. She will have to make another album in order to make up for it. And she is like, no. And I 100% agree with her. Very excited to see how that develops and what comes out of it, because this classification could change a lot of things when it comes to deals and people who are signed contingent on album cycles. And it also may, depending on what happens, it'll definitely sway, negotiations about these things and how artists and their teams are going into these meetings for sure. That ends everything for the labels and deals, artist relations section. And finally, we're going to be talking about two different acquisitions, partnerships, or deals. So Beatport, which is an online retailer and subscription streaming service that specializes in electronic music, has acquired the UK-born music industry technology company AmpSuite. Next up, and finally, last thing that we're talking about today, we have BlackRock teaming up with Warner to launch a new $750 million music buying fund via Influence Media. Oh my gosh, would you look at that? We got this done in under 30 minutes today. Guys, that's, in terms of me now doing it live streamed and not pre-recorded, that is a record, cutting down time by at least 50%. Usually these take, anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour long for me to get through. Because I talk a lot, I mess up a lot. This is very raw, very real, very honest. And usually I do give a little bit more of my 2 cents, my opinion on things. But I wanted to get through everything today really quickly, just give you guys what I could. And we also had a couple, things that were shortened down. It's been a slow week, I would say, in terms of, the research that I did and everything like that. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something. I hope that, you found it valuable for you. And as per usual, I've said this over and over again today. All of the stories are linked in my bio on Instagram and in the description of this video for you guys on YouTube. So definitely, please go over, check those out, do some more research, do some more learning. And once again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. So I'm going to stop the live on YouTube first. Y'all can see me struggle for a little bit because I always have a hard time ending